Let's get it, DJ Drewski, the new movement. And speaking of movements, Kelly and Derek is in the building. DK movement.
Yes. You got it.
I love movements, clearly, right? Because that's my whole thing. But I want you to explain what is going on, because you guys are holding down the youth, and not just youth, adults. You know, explain the whole movement that you guys started and how they come to life.
Well, I'm going to take everybody a little back on.
Yeah, bring us back.
I'm going to bring you back and why the movement is so important to us. So, you know, has anybody ever had a time, and we all probably had a time in our life when we were down, depressed, felt stuck, and there was no movement, right? So I was like, that was me one day, right? And I was an alcoholic. I was just going through life just day by day. And this is why this is really important to us, because Derek helped me get out of that. When I met him, I stopped drinking and things of that nature. And I knew there was more to life than just, I wanted to give up, and I felt alone. So we both have the similar upbringings and have had a lot of things happen in our life. And we wanted to give people the opportunity to understand that you don't have to stay stuck, because we didn't, right? And we wanted to be able to help people. So we want to inspire people through our own stories.
What was it about her that you said, I'm going to take time and energy to help this, at that time, this young woman, you know, fix just her future?
We got to go back a little bit too. I mean, I had to fix myself first.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, I grew up where, you know, my mother was an addict. My father, I didn't know until the age of 16. Right. So one of those situations. But good question, right? I think it came to a point in my life where I went through a divorce right at that time.
Right.
I started working out again. I lost like 100 pounds.
Wow.
So I started dating, right? We were separated. I started dating. I moved out of the house. Still going through the divorce. Sleeping with a lot of different women. But Kelly, she was a little bit different, right? Not only the beauty, she has the brains. So we just got to talking on the phone. At that time, I was like 4 years clean from drinking myself.
Yeah, right.
So again, like I said, exercising. We just got to conversating. Actually, our first meeting, we were supposed to just meet up, go to a restaurant, kind of hook up. But at the end of the day, I got sick. And it was probably a blessing because then it wasn't just a hit and run. It ended up being a long-term relationship where we just started vibing. We just started talking each and every single day, at least 2-3 hours a day on the phone, which I've never done before in my entire life. You know, so it's like, oh my God, I had to get special headphones to talk on my
Right.
I've never done that. You know, most dudes, at least me, I'm in and out, I'm just talking.
Of course.
5-10 minutes, I'm off the phone. I'm hours on the phone. Then we learned we have a birthday party one day apart, February 25th for me, February 26th for her. So it was like, hey, look, I could tell she's a good person. She's going to have to quit drinking in order to move this way, right? Especially with what I had going on with my divorce, fighting for my son. That's been a heck of a battle for the past 7-8 years. But, you know, I got through it. So that's the basis of it, how we met.
And you got to be a strong woman or a drunk woman to date someone going through the stuff he was going through, right? Like, you know, to be friends and hook up is one thing, but to really take it serious and be like, yo, I'm going to lock in with this dude, but he's going through all this mess. You know,
I mean,
there had to be something special about him, too.
Well, people need to understand, too. Right. I'm from New York. He was in Connecticut.
Okay.
So it was long distance, too. So
but just can I stop you there? Because people that probably watching this, that's long distance for someone in New York. But then you have people that like live in Jersey and date someone in California. Right? Know, but if you're from New York, that's long distance.
That's long distance. All right. So it was kind of like, okay, Connecticut? Like, really? I'm a born New Yorker. Never really left New York. And even my cousin lived in Connecticut, never visited her. So, yes, at first it was like, okay, he's just going to come down here, drive to New York, whatever it is, and he could go back, right? But it was a blessing, right, like he said, because he got sick. And then we got to know each other. And those endless hours, again, yes, I have Bluetooth in my ears. And at that time, I was doing red carpet events and stuff. I modeled and things like that. And I needed to slow down. Right. And what was happening is that I would go, you know, the weekends would come, my kids would go with their father. I'm ready to go out. I'm like, yeah.
I'm turning up.
But then it stopped. I didn't want to go out. I wanted to just stay on the phone with him. I was out sitting at a bar with the Bluetooth in my ear, talking to him and saying, yeah, I'm at the bar. I'm bored. Like, I think I want to leave. Right? I'm like, this is just not for me anymore. And I mean, I took the PATH train all the way to Jersey to an event one day, got to the event, turned right back around and went home. And he was on the phone. I said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. So I left. So yes, knowing everything that he was going through, and I have kids myself, I knew if for me to get my life together, I asked my grandmother, may she rest in peace. I said, you think this is a good idea if I just like moved and just left New York?
Right.
And she was like, go, just go. So I packed up my stuff in a month time, sold the stuff that I had, the furniture, and just took my kids and left. And everybody, you know, the people who didn't want me to leave, and it wasn't for good reasons. It was just more to keep me down.
Selfish,
right.
yeah.
Why are you going? That's just a representative. He's not real. You know, are you crazy? You just
Right.
want to uplift and take your 2 girls all the way to Connecticut. And I was like, it's okay. I need to go. And I did.
How long from when you met to when you moved to CT was that?
Oh,
time
that was
frame?
like, we met in January. I was there in August.
Oh,
so-
so yeah, I could understand people like slow down, you know.
Right, I understood that. But I mean, I'm not no spring chicken either. I'm not
Of course.
young. I'm 46 years old. And when we met, it was like 7 years ago. So it was like a decision needed to be made. Like when you find somebody that
Right.
you really connect
you know.
with, I knew because he fell in love with Kelly, not the beauty of Kelly,
Right.
my mind Kelly, and we connected in the same way, vice versa. Like I fell in love with the Derek. I didn't need to be with him. I was always with him just in mind, body, and soul, being in New York and Connecticut.
Right.
So we had such a deep connection, and we shared our stories and the things that we went through. And I was helping him. Like we would talk through, you know, the time his going through the divorce. We would talk through that. We would talk through things that we've been through as kids, and we would talk to that, and that built us stronger. So it wasn't. It was crazy for me to do. I mean, to just get up and leave. But
you knew it was the
sometimes
right thing.
I knew it was the right thing. And I was like, it's all or nothing. And before I left, I told myself, this is all or nothing. Like, I'm leaving New York. I'm leaving where I know, right?
Right.
My comfortability, and going to a totally different place. Connecticut is different. I mean, I'm fast paced. You know, it was everything slowed down.
Right,
I
right.
heard crickets. I was like, I ain't feeling this. Like, I can't sleep. I need noise. And it was a life-changing experience. And then plus, not drinking. So now I have to learn myself all over again. And it was a whole new world for me, being sober and seeing things through a different lens.
Right. How did your friends and family or even the ex-wife adapt to, yo, this girl's coming from New York, just moving to CT, you're moving in with her? Was that like a hard,
I think it's always hard. I don't have the same tight-knit family.
Got it.
Because of what I went through. And that's actually, when we talk about the nonprofit, you understand that a little bit more.
Right.
But there's very few people I had around me. Of course, the ex, she's not well, so we won't speak on that too much. But so
wasn't happy.
no one's going to like that.
Right.
That situation. The kids were fine. I tried to introduce her later on, right? Not right away.
Of course.
I have an
Same
older
here.
son at the time. He went up to New York with me. It was kind of cool. And then my younger son, who I was fighting for custody for.
Right.
But the funny story about this is, like, Kelly and I really vibe. I think it's just same personalities, right? Which is odd, right? You have a man, you have a woman. She's somewhat aggressive, but she still has her feminine side. Same thing, right? I'm caring, but yeah, I have my strong side, right? Where I want to dominate, but it works well. I mean, we're truly like the power couple. I would never think, because I'm always so dominant,
Right.
that I would give in just a little bit. But it works. Like, it just works really well. Like, we play off each other, our strengths, our weaknesses. We're both good at a lot of different things, but when you combine us together, we're pretty much unstoppable. I mean, the things that we've done in the past 4 years, I would have never done alone,
Right.
to be honest. You know, when you have that strong woman behind you, I'm sure you can understand
course,
that.
yeah.
People don't really understand. I don't think men really understand that, right? You have a strong woman behind you, man, you can do a lot. Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
1,000%.
yeah, I mean, like, I've pushed through to do things that I wouldn't be here telling
Right.
my story that we're going to get into, or our story together. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to network. I'm a business guy. I do finance for a living. I manage people, right, at a bank. And it's like, wow, you know, I'm more of like strict. Let's sit here.
Right.
Let's not, especially after not drinking anymore. Yeah, at that time.
Let's get straight to
yeah,
business.
Let's get straight to business. Let's not, chat. But I do have that funny side. I do have that personality. That's why we did TikTok.
Right.
Yeah, so we have like 300,000 followers on TikTok. And the reason why we can't do that right now is because of court. My lawyer at the time, he said you have to stop because it's kind of like that adult humor thing.
Got it.
But our personalities, we played so well off of it, right? And it's fantastic because we grew our TikTok so quick. And it was just about us joking around, doing that comic, but, straightforward stuff too with it. And it's just like, okay, then we kind of got into the nonprofit stuff because she really wanted me to tell my story before she even started telling her story. And, you know, how I grew up, right? How you can overcome things. You can be that 1% on the other end, right? Now I'm doing well in life, moved back to my hometown. And it's like, man, no matter what you go through in life, you can be down. I lived in 3 different shelters right in my hometown in Bristol. I mean, the things I went through, like selling drugs, you know, and I had 2 DWIs by the age of 20, just to give you an idea, right? I was always angry, always fighting. I probably got into 30, 40 fights. No exaggeration, right? But not my fault. That's not who I was inside.
It was the environment.
Yeah, well, I had a mother who would lead me all over the place.
Right.
That's what I mean when I moved so many different times.
There was no stability.
Like, no stability. Come pick me up. Use social services to, you know, kind of get me back. Brainwash me to say she's going to stop. Right. One of those things where, and then you see your mother do certain things and graphic stories, which I've told, where, you know, she'd run in, you know, she'd be naked and the guy'd be trying to beat her. She'd hide behind, you know, the guy right behind me. You know,
use you as a shield.
I've always been her shield, right? Even to this day. But one point I want to bring up is my mother is ill right now. She had to get a tracheotomy, right? She's not a great person, but I was okay with forgiving her. So I want people to understand, no matter what your life path is, I'm not around her as much, but I'm still helping her today, right? And this just happened recently over the past 2 weeks. So don't hate anyone, right? But you can forgive them. Doesn't mean you have to be around those people. And that's kind of what we talk about, like with the movement, with our nonprofit and our youth program. So we live it every single day, no matter what we go through, no matter what we try to do. Not just to inspire people, you have to actually live it and start to overcome.
You have the experience.
Yeah, experience. Like,
and that was what I was gonna ask. With mom, did you hold a grudge?
At first.
Right.
At first.
But when you decided, like, to understand her situation and let the grudge go, do you feel like that's when things just changed around you? Your energy changed.
Really, everything started to change every step of the way when I would make a decision. Mostly when I stopped drinking 12 years ago. I think then I was a lot more clear-headed, right? Then when I lost weight about 3 years after that, I became an avid runner. So I lost about 100 pounds in 8 months, and then I ran every single day. So I can clear my mind consistently. So, yeah, I forgave my mother as soon as I stopped drinking because I understood. But she still continued to be not a great person, right? She just happens to be my mother. But the point being is you could forgive people even at their state, right? But you don't have to be around that negative energy. We believe a lot in that negative energy. You don't want to be. You want to be around positive people if you can, especially if you want to grow, if you want to help others grow. I believe I was put on this earth and for Kelly and I to meet, even late in life, to start helping millions of people. Because we have lots of solutions. We have lots of ideas that not only do you know how to get through it, but you know how to execute it and teach people how to execute things. A lot of people come up with different things in their life and they can tell, hey, this is what you should do. But we put a plan together where people can actually understand, oh, yeah, I lived this before. And I go speak at group homes now, and they're the ones that gave me the idea. Like, Derek, you should roll this out of a program when we've been here 2-3 years and no one's ever touched us like you have. No one's ever gone through the goal setting like you have. It's like you're speaking my story because it's like I lived 4 different lives. Honestly, we can relate to so many different things. And a business person I can relate to. I can relate to pretty much anything because I've been through it. And then overcome it, positive and negative, whether I put myself through it or others put me through it. But you still got to let that go.
But when did the idea to start the nonprofit, were you guys like sitting in bed and was like, you know what?
So
we're going to do this.
COVID did a lot. So during COVID, you know, we're home, and COVID make or break people's relationships.
100%.
You know, but it made us stronger. And because we were home, you know, the idea, that's where the TikTok page, because we wanted to be able to communicate with people. And people, you know, we did the videos because we wanted to show the other side so that people laugh. At this COVID time, people needed to laugh. Seriously. Yeah. So we used to talk to many people on live, and they'll go, you know what, when I'm depressed and, you know, I don't want to get up, I just go to your page so I can laugh, and it changes my whole mood. So we were happy for that. And we had started, so we said, okay, now what's next, right? So when we could start going back outside, right, we wanted to help more, and we were helping the homeless and things of that nature. So everything is always funded out of our pockets. So we came up with a clothing brand, you know, joggers and stuff like that. We said, okay, let's do the clothing brand, and what we sell, we'll use the money to help other people.
Right.
We started doing that, and then we geared towards more the nonprofit. So after a year of the clothing, we said, our accountant's like, but you know, you guys really should just become a nonprofit because this is what you guys are doing. And we wanted to do our first race because Derek's a runner. He always wanted to do a 5K. So our accountant is like, you should have your nonprofit. So on our birthday weekend, we went to a bed and breakfast, and we went to the casino, right? And Derek won $1,500.
Roulette.
On a roulette table.
Oh, nice.
So we went, okay, let's go to the other casino. We went to have dinner. He goes, oh, let's play again. He won another $1,500. So now we got a total of 3 Gs. Right.
It's your lucky day.
It was a lucky day. But we took that money and we said, you know what? Let's start our nonprofit. And we took those funds and we started our nonprofit 2 years ago. And we've been, running ever since.
That's a big step to commit to that.
Yeah. No, it's been a great journey, a difficult one though,
right.
too. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it's not been difficult. It has, right? It's especially in your hometown where a lot of people, there's only like 10, 15 people that make decisions. So as you're starting to come up,
right.
60,000 people that live there, right? And they're like, well, we don't want to share, the businesses with you type deal. It's the truth. I call it how it is.
What do you think that is, though? Is it just...
I don't know. What do you think that is? I have an idea, but what do you think? I want to get your perspective on that.
I can't figure it out myself. So you being, going through it, you might have a better idea of why people won't want to support
I think
good
sometimes
cause.
there's a couple things, right? Some people just don't trust, right? That might be one.
That's
that
definitely
might be
one.
But when they get to know you,
right.
Or it could be a little jealous, envy. They're the ones that nicknamed us the power couple. We never nicked our names the power couple. So why would you just say that?
Oh, so they nicknamed it more as like sarcasm.
Right. It was like a sarcastic
and
remark that we said, okay.
We're going to run with it. Yeah.
We're going to run with it if that's how you see
it. Right. That's how you flip it, by the way.
Right. That's how you flip it.
I mean, if you're together with someone all the time and you can be with somebody, right, think about it. You don't see that often, right? You don't see a man and woman together. It's either a single woman or, you see partnerships.
Of
but
course.
Not in this day and age as much as you used to, right? Especially
family.
Two powerful people. So we believe a lot in family, whether we have our own family together or not, mixed family, still the same thing.
Right.
And Kelly and I believe, hey, listen, a man and a woman can thrive together, right? There are some balancing acts.
Of course.
But you can make it work. So that's our thing now. We're the power couple. You want to nickname us the power couple, and we'll run over you.
Right.
In a positive way.
Of course.
I spin everything in a positive way. It never comes out of my mouth. And believe me, sometimes I can go back to the street. I want to, right? But I'm like, don't go there, right? Just, this is what they see. This is who you are. Don't let them.
And this is who you want.
Yeah.
Who you are.
This
right. This is who I want to be. Like, I don't want to be the guy.
Don't take me out of character.
Right. Don't take me out of character because that's how I grew up my whole entire life.
Right.
You guys, some of you guys know that, right? So don't push me back there. Let's continue to push forward on something where we can help millions of people. This is no joke, right? This is something that has never been thought of before. And what I mean is the youth program. It is important to get it out there, to get it here, to get it in New York, to get it in Connecticut. It's mobile. It's just us getting up, teaching people how to, understand the curriculum, hiring the right people to actually introduce the curriculum and teach it to the kids.
Right.
So normally a lot of people go about it with psychiatrists and try to get kids to open up that way, which is fine. But if you grew up the way we grew up, kids are just like standoffish.
Of course.
And then we wonder why they're still out in the hood. We wonder why they're not connecting, right? We wonder what's happening. They go to Boys and Girls Club. They go to, but it never, I know I went there. It didn't help me, right? Because you're still out selling drugs. You're still out, fighting. You're still out sleeping with lots of women. People don't understand. You need something constructive to get people inside and then give them the tools to actually overcome these. These are things that I've overcome. I use them on a daily basis still to this day. So if you have anxiety, understand how to overcome that, right? And that's part of our program. It's a 10-week program along with exercise.
Right.
And the exercise can be interchangeable. So if we're down in Florida, it could be flag football. Up here, it's running because, that's my passion.
Of course.
So it's really one of those things where we're pushing to get it off the ground. But like anything else, you need a little bit more support.
Of course. But you guys are doing that. Like me just watching from the outside. And people that say power couple, you understand where it comes from because when you follow your journey, it's like they're figuring this out. They're sitting up here with DJ Drewski. They're doing all these other podcasts and platforms. They're participating in give backs and all these different events. They have a publicist. Like people don't understand the work and the the energy that goes into taking a nonprofit or any business and building it to a certain level. But you guys are putting in that work.
Especially we also have our families.
At the same time, right?
And then we both work full time. So
right.
it's like we don't sleep.
Right. But I just want people to understand when they say power couple.
Thank you.
It's not a joke. It costs money. It costs time. It costs all to make it. Just to come here today.
Yeah.
Knowing, hey, when we drive back in the snow, it's a 3-hour drive.
Correct.
Right.
People are not willing to put in that work. So that's why they could joke about it, because they might have an idea. They just don't know how to execute it. But when you sit up here and showing people, hey, this is how you execute it. This is how you get the word out. Because, the goal is for what you guys want to do with the nonprofit. There's a goal to it. But this is all the part of the process.
Correct. And we put actionable steps in place. Like we have no problem. We have a 5K race.
Right.
This is going to be our third year.
Right.
Doing it, right. So like just us two put it together, right? Understanding how to do it, just us two putting it together. 300-400 people showed up. We have one of the biggest races in a small town that's just growing, right? So if you can do that as a couple or individual or with a group or team, it's pretty impressive,
right?
Let alone with two people just to do it. And now we're adding some people on into the mix,
of course,
which is great because we could use all the help we can. But let me tell you, the amount of work we have to put in, I'm glad you brought it up, is tremendous. Behind the scenes, behind the scenes, it starts with overcoming all your trauma from your childhood.
Right.
That's where it starts. That's what if I don't overcome that trauma, I'm not here today.
Right.
I'm still drinking. I always held down a job. I always did well. And that's what part of my job helps to push this forward along with her job. If we didn't have great jobs, we wouldn't be here. But that's a full-time thing. So we have to put full-time effort into that.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm a manager and I have a lot of leeway. But still, if I don't deliver, that's a problem, right? Then that income gets cut off.
Affects
and it won't help our passion to help millions of people.
Right.
We literally have an idea that will help millions of people. And then eventually to help adults.
What is the ultimate goal for DK movements? Like, what is the...
Well, for me, and I'll let Kelly answer.
Right.
For me to have our programs, the youth program first, and then adult program, which we haven't rolled out yet, in every city, every state, school systems, it doesn't matter. So all across the United States, us overseeing it, hiring people, making sure they see our vision and understand, right, how to run these programs. That's part of it. And plus, have our podcast so we can continue to reach millions and millions of people that way too. But we want something effective, which we have now. So that's what I say the goal at this moment is expand across the United States, not just Connecticut, all across the United States with the youth program.
Right.
And I'll just piggyback a little bit on that because, yes, we want to have these programs. We want to train people to run the program, but we like to be in it. So us just going and being able to speak and to go to group homes and still be there and be present and be eye to eye with these kids and let them know that everything is going to be okay and share our stories and put all our cards on the table so they can understand that you don't have to stay stuck here because we didn't.
Right. Now, what would it take to get there? For people that are watching, like, what support do you need? What would it take to eventually get to that goal? What do you think you would need?
We have a budget already.
Okay.
Right. We are going to roll out the first program probably within the next 2 months in our hometown, not Bristol, but within Connecticut.
Right.
So the budget to get 15 kids done is about $20,000 to pay it for it full. We don't want them to pay out of pocket.
Right, of course.
Okay? So it's about $20,000 to run that program for 10 weeks. Plus, we'll have a follow-up program after that, but we'll leave that for that. So,
right.
And then you just need a space, right? It could be any kind of space, and then an outdoor space. So running, you could do anywhere.
Parks.
Parks, correct. But just a small space where you can fit 15 kids, where we can hire, put them in the classroom, teach everything we need to teach. And like Kelly said, just because we're not going to be there running the 10 weeks, we will be showing up.
Of course.
And saying, hey.
Overseeing
it, yes.
The whole thing.
Well, I mean, in a nutshell, money.
Right.
Everybody needs money. We have a GoFundMe going on right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Our goal is to raise $150,000 so we can have not just one program running. We want to have a bunch of programs running simultaneously and just to get things up and running. People need to understand we're also hiring people within our community, so we're providing jobs for people.
Right.
So money is going to be the thing. I mean, we're not going to stop. We're
Of course.
So as long as we have the financial support, we can't keep funding it ourselves. So we have the financial support and just word of mouth. People just sharing our movement helps, and just to grow that support, that's what we need.
So if there is someone that's like, I love their energy, I love what they're doing. What do these classes consist of? What am I sponsoring? So I put the $20,000 for this program. What is being taught to these kids when they do come to these classes?
Well, the very first one is communication. So each class is 2 hours. The first one's going to be introduction, why the program started, what's your background. It fits all lifestyles, whether you're rich or poor. So that's one of them, communication. Another big aspect is social media. We have a huge issue with social media. So 2-hour classes, again, speaking about social media. And I mean in depth. I don't want to give too much away, but basically, okay, how are you looking at a post? How does that make you feel? What do you do to counteract that if you're having a bad day? What are you listening to, right, on the radio? What are you listening to on YouTube? What are you looking at, right? So I have some things that I put in place because that helps me, right? So I use the things that help me, and that's in the actual program. The next piece of it is some kind of activity. Like I said, in this first couple, it will be running. The reason why you need the activity is because you have to stimulate those endorphins, and they have to overcome challenges. So if you start, especially with running, you have to overcome a challenge. It's very difficult. Even if you could just walk and then you can jog a little bit, that's overcoming something. So now that then gives you confidence. Once you have confidence, then you can start to build from there. But very first thing, you have to get kids to open up. So communication. Also, we have something in there for work. So teaching you how to dress, teaching you how to become a good employee for the employer, right? So I'm a manager of people. She's a manager of people. There's certain things you have to be on time, but actually showing them what that means physically. There will be actually a community. What are we going to do? A community?
Yeah, so also a community project aspect of it. So what they're learning, we want them to be able to now use those skills and apply them. So have a project and then report back to us, do a presentation to say how did they apply those skills that they learned within the community.
It's amazing because these are things that are not being taught in schools. And like you said, the hardest part is getting the kids to open up.
Yes.
So if you create a space for that where they feel comfortable, where it's still cool for them to be a part of, and, to really break through and get them in a better direction, I think it's amazing. How can people that do want to support or do want to learn more about this, or even a kid that wants to be a part of it, what's the best way for them to get involved?
Well, they could visit our website. We have 2 websites. One for our nonprofit is dkmovementcares.org. They could visit there. They could find out more information about the youth program. And if anybody wants to donate, they could donate on our website.
Got it.
Regarding us coming out to do any public speaking events and hiring that, they can also contact us through our podcast. Is the Together We Saw podcast.com, and they can book us to come out and speak to the youth.
Got it.
I just got one question. For anyone out there, do you have a kid that's suffering from anxiety right now? Do you have a kid that's depressed? Do you have a kid that is having trouble communicating with other kids? Or you as a parent? Or they're in a group home and they're just acting out? This is the program. This gets to the core. I'm the one that sat there and asked these kids these questions. And I asked, hey, should I roll something like this out? They said, absolutely. We've been here for a very long time. You're the very first person. I said, look, we're going to do something. This was a year ago. We finally got it off the ground.
Right. They need it. It's needed.
It's needed.
Some things are just needed. So congrats on, the start of all this, building it. Hopefully people do take advantage of these opportunities on an early stage, because once things get rolling, don't jump on board when it's like too late.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Because that's what happens.
You're right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that goes back to maybe some of the hate that we get. Once we're rolling, which we have been rolling, we're successful with the 5K. Then people start coming out of the woodworks and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to be a part of this. We're going to help you. We're going to give you a little money now. This is when you need the money. You need the money when this is we're already proven. We're already proven.
Of course.
We're sitting here
3 years in.
Yeah. 3 years in. We've raised over almost $20,000 on our own, with little help. We're already proven we have a successful 5K race. We've given back multiple times out of our own pocket, hundreds of thousands of dollars over a couple, So a lot of money has gone into it. So we back it up with our own personal feelings and our own money. But again, this is going to explode. We're on the cusp of exploding, because nothing exists like this, because people have an idea. They don't know how to execute the idea, because you have to put the work in. And then when you have the idea, is it effective? Have you done the work to make it effective? I already know it's effective. 1, I've already used it in a group home. 2, I've used it on myself. 3, I've used it on my employees, and they told me it's effective, So I had some employees that have been there 30, 45 years. And guess what? They're like, you're the first person that's got to us, who made us feel like we're worth something. And now quite a few of them got raises. Quite a few of them are in different positions. So that tells you if it's effective there in all aspects. At home, it's effective with her and I. So I think we know what we're
Right.
doing.
The formula's working.
Yeah, it's
Yes, it
working.
is.
How long until these legal issues are done so we could get you guys back on TikTok? Do we have a
The
timeline?
legal issues are done.
It's done.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when do we,
And now it's
Now it's
about
time for-
Derek and Kelly.
okay,
Find some time to start shooting the
Shoot again,
TikToks
yes.
again.
yeah, they need that,
Yeah, we
And-
want to get back to that.
and
have
we all
fun.
know that drives more
Yeah. It
traffic
does,
to
it does.
the
Yeah, you're right.
the big idea,
does.
but people love the personalities.
No,
and-
you're right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get more
Yeah, the
TikToks.
page is running. Derek and
It's
Kelly
running.
has the TikTok
just
handle.
we just gotta start filming.
Right.
Just got to get the time to do it.
Just gotta start filming.
All right, listen, we paying attention, we watching,
all right.
and we supporting. Drop your Instagrams and one more time the website.
So
for everybody.
on the website, there's two. So dkmovementcares.org, Together We Solve podcast.com, and all social media platforms you have DK Movement Cares, and then Together We Solve. And then our TikTok handle is Derek and Kelly.
And I'm gonna be honest, as soon as you Google us, we'll pull up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just put in DK Movement.
And
You don't even have to put
pop-
cares
pop up.
because we've done so much.
so much.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been in the newspapers, local
media.
now these
Of
podcasts,
course.
and we pop up. Yeah.
And every day I see them on a different platform working.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
we're
congratulations
Yeah, thank
on
you
that.
so much.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
And
thank you for having
appreciate
us,
you
too.
guys, coming. DK Movements. Make sure you tap in. DJ Drewski. And we out. Peace.